Welcome to our Tuesday episode of The Couch Show. We're
What
your
up?
hosts. I'm Lynn. This is
I'm
Ray.
Ray.
And
My bad. I
if
was
you're new
watching the
here,
Flash. They
make sure
dropped
you
a
hit
new
that thumbs
Flash
up.
trailer. I was watching it. So my bad. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear me. Let me mute that. All right. I gotta make sure we're live on YouTube. So, yeah, we're live on the tubes. Huh?
What are we doing? I have no idea. What are you doing?
Oh, I was watching the new trailer for the Flash. Man, like the first 15 seconds, like you were like, let's go live. And I was just, the countdown was here. I was just like the first 15 seconds. And I was just like, yo, this shit looks dope.
Okay. So you're cross
So I was
checking.
like, yeah. So I was like, oh shit.
So
What up?
my current obsession are lifesaver gummies. Oh my gosh, why are they so good? I
Oh yeah,
get
you had that.
the diffusion ones.
Yeah, you had that on Mom's birthday on the drive. We ate the whole
Well,
bag.
I'm currently still obsessed. Damn, that was in February. We're at the end of April. I'm still
Damn,
on
you're
this
still.
shit.
Yep,
Oh,
you're still on it.
okay. A little bit of
I
consistency.
gotta lay off the candy though. My teeth ain't having. They're not having fun with all the candy I like to.
I have a dental appointment in the morning.
Yep. There you go. You better stop.
Yeah, maybe I'll put these away.
Yeah, maybe. Stop with all that sugar.
Just one more. Just one more.
So welcome back to YouTube. We're back live on the Tuesday show. How was your weekend, man?
I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do much, but just being here at the house, cleaned up the backyard a little bit. You know,
You been
prepping
enjoying
for
some of
the
the
next
good
season.
weather? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of spring cleaning too.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks, man. Like how do we buy so much shit, man? I'm so tired. Like I gotta remember this the next time I go to the store and I want to buy shit because I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't want to deal with that later. Because it all just ends up in the trash. And it's funny because it costs you money to get it, and then it also costs you money to get rid of it. Like I don't want to deal with that shit no more.
It sure does.
It's obnoxious, man. It's so
Oh my
obnoxious.
gosh.
But
It's definitely a money-making system. Whoever's making money off of me, they're making a killing.
Yeah, it sucks, man. But yeah, let's get into the show. What do you got to talk about? What are we talking about today, Lynn?
What are we talking about today? Drum roll, please. I've got nothing.
You got nothing?
I have been so disconnected. I have not been online. You know what I have been pulling up a lot of videos about AI and about using AI to like make money online. So that's kind of like where my mind's been. That's the realm that I'm kind of just like playing around with in my mind right now.
I think it's funny that Hollywood wants to go on a writer strike right now. I think it's just ironic that with this talks about it with all these movies, like all these woke movies coming out, and they're all failing in the box office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they had these writers had the audacity to say, I'm going to go on strike when you have like we're on the cusp of AI, and you could go to AI right now, say, hey, create this like a script, and like it'll write something like 10 times better than whatever's in the movies right now. Except for Mario, of course. Mario's dope, and it's the reason why it's about to hit $1 billion this week, right? But regardless of that, all these woke ass movies that keep coming out, that keep bombing I'm looking at you, Disney. Like the writers from She-Hulk wants to go on strike. She-Hulk, yeah, go ahead, please go ahead, and let one guy say, hey, I could do it myself with AI.
Right.
And I guarantee it's going to be a box office hit or a badass show on Disney Plus or something like that.
I see that happening too, like them being able to cut costs with this strike because like we're becoming obsolete, man.
Well, they are going to cut costs. They're saying that right now the demands that these writers have, it's just like we're going into a recession, right? Or we're already in a recession, right? It's not feasible right now.
Right.
It's not feasible. Like you said it the other day, the first thing that goes, the first thing that gets cut is the creatives, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's not feasible. But of course, in solidarity for the writers, all the other entities that make movies are kind of like standing by them and all that. So
Mhm.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like there's gonna be a whole strike. Because the last time this happened, I remember too. Like, man, like a lot of the shows that I like ended up getting canceled, or
Mhm.
just they had like dud seasons. Things on TV was just on replay. Like it was just like a pause in entertainment.
Yeah.
But once again, there was an AI, right? So once again, if you're a content creator, jump on that AI and start pumping out some stuff, man. People are being thirsty. People are going to be so thirsty right now. If they go on this writer strike for TV, movies, everything, there's nothing. It's going to be on a
Right.
standstill again.
Yeah.
So
So if you're out here just producing your own content,
yeah,
which I guess is good for, us YouTube creators too, because people are going to be looking for entertainment. So they're going to be looking more to YouTube.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's one thing that Elon Musk said the other day. Ironically, he was being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, right? And who just recently got fired, right? He just got fired. Oh, you got more candy? You just
I'm
going
going
in?
back in. I'm going back in.
Man, I want to listen. Grab me a bag the next time you go. I'm gonna partake too. I'm like shit. Me and Lynn are gonna end up going to one of those. Where you gotta go, like Mexico or Costa Rica, to get our teeth all fixed.
Yeah.
Get the
Oh
implants. We're just
no.
gonna go there and just get implants. Yeah, so Tucker just got fired from Fox News, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, "Oh, where is he gonna go?" And this whole narrative as far as like, what platform is gonna pick him up, because he was the biggest show on Fox News, right?
Mhm.
I think he was like I think he was the guy, like the biggest guy ever in history, like the biggest journalist ever in history, getting like all the views, except for somebody like back in the day, like Walter Cronkite, which was just like one guy telling the news, right?
Mhm.
But Fox News just fired him, and the question was like, where's he gonna go next? And Elon Musk was like, he just needs a platform. Like he could just
Mhm.
go do this on Twitter, and we are now in the age of like independent journalism,
Mhm.
right? People just coming out here telling the news, going out there and doing what the mainstream media is not doing, which they claim they do, but they're not. They stopped doing that for decades.
Right.
So that's where we are right now, where anybody can go out here, make content, make their name, and as long as you provide, good content, not even provide good content, as long as you have integrity at this point, show that you're going to stand by who you are and keep doing you. People are going to follow you. You're going to grow your foundation. So yeah, it's crazy. Did you hear about Twitter? The Twitter check mark?
No.
Oh my God, everybody on Twitter is crying about the check mark. So Elon Musk finally took the check mark away, unless
Mhm.
you pay the $8 for it, right? So everybody in Hollywood, of course, they're so entitled, the entitled elite, they're all crying, like,
Mhm.
oh, my check mark. And so I was like, you can't pay $8 a month for you can't make that a business expense just so you can be verified. And they're all
Yeah.
crying like, oh, somebody could mimic me and scam, my fans, my audience, and all that. It's like, so then
Mhm.
get verified. If you don't want that to happen, get verified. So it's funny. Right before I came on the show, I saw somebody showed took a screenshot. I don't know if it's real, but it was hilarious either way. That it
Mhm.
was like I guess New York City came out and said like, this is our official channel. Don't get scammed by anybody else. You make sure it's this title and this title and this. And then like right below it, there was like another thing that was like, you're not the real one. I'm the real one. So it's like people are gonna be getting scammed left and right out here. It's hilarious. It's like why don't you just get verified? I don't understand it.
Oh my gosh. It's also crazy that people do go out of their way to create these elaborate accounts,
They do.
trying to be somebody else, just
Mm-hmm.
taking over somebody's identity basically.
Just
But
scamming left and right out here.
they do get money off of it. You can make money online by simply having an account with eyes on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Yeah,
wild west of the internet.
yeah, just scamming people. I mean, in the height of crypto. Every time crypto starts to go up again, you'll see all these scam accounts and all these like scam projects, just people just, preying on the like just people being gullible, you know?
Mhm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like uh this whole thing with like Bud Light and even thing with Fox, like there's so many people who will continue watching Fox News thinking that they're reliable, like they're a reliable source of news. We've
Mhm.
been saying for years to stop watching the news, but there's still people to this day who will continue watching the news. I don't get it. I really don't. But times are changing, right? If we're getting our news from the phone, I can only imagine, what our kids are gonna end up doing. Like they don't even watch TV,
Mhm.
right? We're raising our kids, they don't know what cable is.
Right.
We know what cable is. They know what internet is, right? They know what YouTube is. They know what all that stuff is, but they don't know what cable networks are.
Well, I mean, they're going to be getting it from social media. They're going to get it from, whatever is
Yeah, and
buzzing
that's
in social
right,
media.
and that's right, and that's the thing that's alarming because once again, like TikTok and all these channels, they already shown that they do have a bias. They lean a certain way, and they are censoring, certain voices if it goes against their narrative, right?
Mhm.
So that's the thing that you got to continuously, raise the alarm and understand, like when somebody is feeding you, I hate to use the word propaganda, but if somebody's trying to feed you propaganda, you got to be able to detect that and pick up on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm. See, maybe we need to do a short video how to detect propaganda.
Yeah. I
Mm.
don't know. I don't even know how would you talk
I would ask
something like
AI
that?
to write that for me. Hmm.
You can't because AI is programs, right? So
Right.
whenever you ask any of those like hard hitting political questions, AI is going to lean a certain way because they're being programmed for that narrative.
Damn.
Yeah. And I've seen bits and pieces where somebody will say, they'll give AI a statement like statement A, and then AI would have a certain response, and then
Hmm.
you give statement B, which is like leaning towards that agenda or whatever
Hmm.
whatever the narrative or the agenda may be, and then AI will have a completely different response.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you can't. Yes, there are certain things that AI is good for, but you got to understand that it is being programmed by people who are also, touting and following that narrative and that agenda.
You see,
Yeah.
but isn't this where, so isn't AI going to get smart enough to where it's going to be able to access the internet and, you know, generate its own information? Like, aren't we attaching it to the internet so that it has access to more information?
It does, but once again, it's still pulling that bias. So that's the reason why Elon, and this is why he's getting toured up left and right everywhere he goes. Right,
Mhm.
they're painting the picture just like what they did with Trump. They're doing it to Elon now because he's outspoken, and he even said it. He was like, "Look, AI is biased, and he's working on what he's going to call truth, truth AI or whatever, where it's not going to be biased." Now, I still think it's going to be biased whichever way. Like maybe it's not biased it's biased the other way, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know. Will AI end up being smart enough to make its own decisions and be like, wait a minute, you've been lying to me. You've been telling me like I see this, and you're telling me it's a narrative. It's all the narrative. It's the same narratives that like me after seeing all this stuff. Like I've been questioning history, like everything that we've been taught as far as like this is history, and it was like, oh, this is set in stone. I question it because the ones who write the history books are the ones who won, right?
Mhm.
They're the ones who's gonna paint that narrative and say, "Oh, we won this war. It's this is the reason why we went to war," right? It's you're not asking the losers, "Hey, why
Mhm.
were you fighting, or why did you start this, or why did you do all this?" Right? So it's a bit alarming. It's a bit alarming right now. But regardless,
Yeah, those who
uh,
control the past control the future.
yeah. But I have hope. I have hope. I'm always gonna have hope that things will change. I mean, look at what's going on with Bud Light. Was it they lost like
Mhm.
$7 billion? The lady who the VP who did that whole promotion, she got fired.
Yep.
Her boss got fired.
Oh shit.
Um, yeah, over the weekend, I was watching some certain programs. They had commercials, and it was Budweiser commercials, and they're showing the horses again, and they're trying to
Mhm.
show like the whole Americana and trying to really like get people to, and I'm just laughing hysterically. I'm
Let's
like,
bring the
you guys,
horses back.
yeah. I'm like, y'all shot yourself in the foot, man. And so,
Mm.
yeah. So I mean, to me, that's a win, right? That's a win. And little wins, those little wins that maybe will make companies think twice before doing something like that. But unfortunately, I feel like it's more of it's not about money anymore. It's not even about money anymore for these companies.
Mm.
It's really pushing that narrative, pushing that agenda. It's like, for example, Disney's losing a lot of money, but they're still going on full steam ahead, right? They're doubling down. You know,
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It really does make you wonder if are they just that naive that they don't realize the correlation between like the direction they're going and the fact that
they
they're
do,
losing money,
they do.
or are they really, just they're that dead set on pushing these ideas?
They're dead set on pushing these ideas. They're dead set on it. Hollywood, the music industry, journalism, mainstream media, everybody's on board with this agenda. And the more you look at it, it's funny too because before Kanye's last rant, the one that he had like back in like what was it, like 2020 or something like that, when he went on SNL and they took that like little clip of him and they made it seem like he was like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he called him out. He said like, look, everybody, um, everything in Hollywood, the movies, music, everything, it leans a certain way. And
Mm-hmm.
he was, of course, once he came out and said that, nobody was like, does he have a point? Like nobody came out and
Right.
proved him wrong, right? They
Right.
just said, "Oh, he's crazy. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs," and that's what they do. They shame, they name, they belittle, they do all this stuff, but they'll never disprove or show facts on why you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
If you are lying, right? They'll never do that. They'll be like, "No, you're wrong, and this is the reason why you're wrong." They'll
Mm-hmm.
never do that. They'll call you every ist in the book, right? They'll shame you. They'll do everything they can to make you feel bad for what you said, but they will never disprove what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, in other news, you ain't got nothing. Nothing
I don't
else.
have nothing. Nope. um. Yeah. What else is going on in the world? You didn't
Man,
send me
there's
any
so much
links I
going
could
on.
pull up any articles.
Pull up the soccer player. Let's talk about that guy. That guy's a champ. The soccer player that's going through a divorce. I think if you just actually type that in Google, soccer player divorce, it'll pull up right
Yo,
away.
it pops right up.
That's why I didn't
Right
even have to
up.
send you the name or the guy's link or anything. This guy's taking over right now. And
Oh my god.
I don't know how I feel about it. Of course, I'm ecstatic because it's an awesome win for him. But one, I'm like, it took this long for guys to actually start doing something like this. Like, God, men, dudes, we're so stupid. Why are we so stupid?
Now, weren't you telling me something like they've only been married a few years?
Yeah, they were only married 2 years. Pull up an article so we can see it in full screen. We can't see anything over here.
I'm trying to read through, see what looks. It'll give us information.
Any one of them will give you the backstory.
Yeah, 10 famous football players who got divorced. That's gonna give us the story.
No, you know which one it is. Jeez.
Oh my god, all these pop-ups.
But the thing is like, first off, did you do is this filtered by like the latest article?
Nope.
Or you just go
This is
random
from
from one like
April
last year or
14th.
something?
Boom.
Goodness.
It's from the 14th, so I guess this isn't latest news. This was 10 days ago.
Yeah, so my man, everybody's like giving him like the top G award of the year, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he outsmarted a woman in divorce. But I'm like, one, it's sad that we live in a society where he had to do something like this. And two, it's sad that we still live in a society where men believe in this shit. Like, why are men? I don't understand why men are getting married in this day and age. I really don't. So, to put things in perspective, all his assets are under his mother's name, right?
Yeah, I
His
have all that
current
here.
football, his current football salary is being sent to his mother, and like his mother's giving him an allowance,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everything, he technically does not own anything. Everything is under his
Nothing,
mother's.
including all his
Doesn't own
assets, his houses, his
right, all his
cars, his
assets, his
jewelry, his
cars, everything.
clothing is
So
all registered in her name.
on paper, he looks like a broke mofo.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got married to her. They were married for 2 years. And she thought, hey, we're going to get a divorce. I want half, right?
Mm-hmm.
First off, I don't even understand how somebody could expect to get half after 2 years of marriage. I mean, there's got to be some sort of term limits on this thing. It's 2 years of marriage and that's it. You get half. But it backfired on her because he has nothing on paper. And so the judge was like, well, your assets, meaning the wife, he looked at her, he was
Mm-hmm.
like, he gets half of your stuff. And so she wasn't smart enough to safeguard any of her stuff either. So now she has to give her half to him. Mind you,
Damn.
he's a multi-millionaire, right? He has all this stuff. He's getting paid all this stuff, but it's all going to his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Even like his income, his pay was going to a checking account that's under his mother's name. Now, one, it's a very sad system that like you gotta really trust, of course it's your mother, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
like you gotta really trust the other person that you're giving all your assets to.
Yeah.
And it's sad that men have to live in a world like that where I can't have all my entity and all my stuff because, for whatever reason, a marriage goes south. She's an able body. She should be able to work for herself. But there's this broken system where it's like, hey, we're going to sign this contract together, but the party who initiates us breaking apart gets everything. Like, I don't
Right.
get it. Like, it's a bad contract. You wouldn't do that business deal with, anybody else in the streets, right? Like even your best buddy, you go into business with your best buddy. Would you go into a contract and say, hey, if this business deal doesn't work out, you get half of everything? Like, I don't,
Mm-mm.
I just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But
So I'm just reading here. So it looks like he was 19 and she was 31 when they started
wow,
dating. There's
wow.
actually a big age gap there.
Mm.
So I don't know. Good on him. I'm not gonna lie. Good on him.
I just think, I don't know. To me, I think this whole like alimony system needs to be done with. Like, we need to change the law. But the only thing that will change it is when you hear more stories like this. When
Mm-hmm.
women start losing in court, that's when they'll change the whole system. I guarantee
Mm-hmm.
it. You hear more stories like this, and then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, this doesn't make any sense."
Right.
Like me personally, I think it should be like you should hit a certain time. Like it should be 20 years. Like if you were
Mm-hmm.
married 20 years, and then you go through a divorce, and even then, I always said that it should be like 5 years of you paying alimony, and
Mm-hmm.
each year that goes by, it's 20% less. So the first
Mm-hmm.
year you're paying at 100, the second year you're paying at 80%, and then that way, she's an able body. Like, why is
Right.
she not going to work? If we tout this lie that men and women are equal, then why not say, okay, you're divorced, you had a certain standard of living, but now that you're walking away, go out there and work,
Yeah.
make your
But we
money.
also can't have it both ways, like if we want to say, oh, that the man is supposed to be the breadwinner and the woman's supposed to be the one taking care of the home, and
Yeah, but
then there's a
nobody follows
split,
that
you
anymore,
can't
right?
have no. But you know what? Like, you have very traditional views, and we're always talking about how, oh, like, yeah, like let the men do all the work and let the women be the one at home taking care of the home. But like, you can't have it both ways. If we're gonna have a more traditional society, then we can't also
We
have
don't.
it where
But
once a
realistically
divorce
speaking,
happens, now she's like flat on
but
her ass.
but
It's just
realistically
not fair. It doesn't
speaking,
make sense, which is why we got to where we are now, where women don't want to rely on men because when the man walks away, they walk away with everything. Like,
nah, you once again, you're living that feminist lie, and that's okay. I'll re-educate you. I'll mansplain if I have to, right? But the reality is that once
how
again,
do I deal with you?
traditional values are being held. Men are held accountable to these traditional values, right? Men are being raised to be traditional and all this, whereas women are not. Women are being touted this modern day, daydream, this modern day, oh, hey, you be whatever you want. And so marriage is not what it used to be. And this whole thing that men are to be the one, the one, you'll hear most couples are saying, "Oh, you can't live off of one income," right?
Mhm.
That's the reality. Most people are saying, "Oh, you can't live off of one income. We both have to be out here working." So then, if it's the only way I could see it, where she takes half, is if you were putting half into it,
Mhm.
right? Where I had like I remember like my first long term relationship, we were both working, we were both putting a portion of our money into a savings account, which she got mad because she was like, "How come you make more and I gotta pay, equal?" She was like, "I
Mhm.
make less. You should pay more of the bills." I was like, "No, it's 50-50. It's 50-50 of the chores, 50-50 of the bills, it's 50-50 of the bank account when we leave. It's 50-50 across the board." And so after I transferred whatever the shared account we had, that I transferred that, the rest that I was getting, that was in the money.
Mhm.
That was me. That was mine. I safeguarded that. So the reality is like, no, that whole traditional thing, that's non-existent. That doesn't
But
exist anymore.
you're not understanding me because I'm not saying that this is what we need right now. I'm not saying like, hey, let's continue to have this where alimony is paid out the way it is and everything's exactly going the way it is, because we don't have a traditional society. But what I'm
Hmm.
saying is, if it's a situation of a traditional, marriage, a traditional household, then I do understand, you know,
The
um,
alimony system,
right,
yes.
alimony system. I
So
understand
you're
why it's in place the way it is. I'm not
you're
saying it has
correct.
to remain that way, because you're right. We don't have
Yes, you're
traditional values in marriages
right.
anymore.
Right, you're correct. This system, this law system that we currently have, is something that was back in the 70s,
Hmm.
back in the 80s, when it was that traditional, the man goes to work and the woman stays at home and is a home care, home provider, which I agree with that. Me raised traditional, that's what I would want. But
Hmm.
I know that's a unicorn pipe dream. I know that if I
Right.
go out there, there's the reason why I don't long term date like that, because I know that's not realistic. Dealing with modern women, they don't want that.
Hmm.
They're all about my career, my career. I'm like, all right, go for your career. But then you hear all these stories of how uh, they're alone, they feel isolated, they feel depressed, they're on antidepressant, anxiety, all this stuff. It's because it's not meant to be like that.
Hmm.
And I actually watched something over the weekend where they said it was actually a cool documentary. I don't know if it was actually real or what, but it made some good points. The points was that they pushed this whole like feminist narrative because getting women out of the home, right, and putting them in the workforce, that's another body they could tax.
Hmm.
And so pushing all of that, you just doubled, income tax. So I was like, damn, that's true.
Which is crazy, because if the powers to be just weren't so freaking greedy, they would
Uh-huh.
pay the men a little bit more and kept shit the way it was, kept it the status quo. Would have been
Yeah,
more
but
taxes. Hello, same shit. Do the math.
yeah, well, it is what it is. There was a tweet that went viral, and it was this female. I believe the tweet came out from like India, and the female was, it wasn't her. She was just saying like my. I have a coworker who's a friend who says, in this day and age, like all the men she works with, like they keep it very professional and they don't really talk to her like short term, like talking to her to the point where her friend now feels isolated at work.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, no shit. Like, what were you expecting after this whole like the whole Me Too movement, right? A guy, okay, yeah, there's guys who will hit on women at work, right? I
Hmm.
don't understand that whole concept. Why play where you work, right? Keep those two separate.
Hmm.
But there's guys that will do that, of course. But for the most part, there were guys who were just like, hey, how's it going? Being friendly. And, they, for whatever reason, they came off creepy, right? And so
Hmm.
here they're going to HR saying, oh, this guy's being creepy. And the next thing you know, he's getting like a sexual harassment charge on him and all this stuff. So guys kind of gotten smartened up, right, in the workforce. And they're just keeping it professional.
Hmm.
And now, now that they're keeping it professional, now women are out here saying, "Oh, it's isolating. I feel isolated." I'm like, "Why is he not hitting on me?" I'm like, "What is that? What? I don't get it." So they're feeling isolated.
I don't know. Personally, as a woman, my emotions change from day to day. I recognize this.
Yeah.
I give the people around me warning, like, dude, it is not my day. Don't push my buttons because
There's a word for
this
that.
shit
You
is
know that, right?
crazy.
There's a diagnosis and word for that, right? You know that, right?
What are you about to say, Ray? Go ahead,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doctor
You know
Ray. What
this
do you
shit.
have to say to
I'm
that?
asking you if you know if you kind of correlated the two.
What do you mean, like bipolar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you
No, I'm
go.
not
Ding, ding,
talking
ding.
about being bipolar.
Ding, ding,
No, okay.
ding.
But yeah, like I can recognize like when like my emotions are just, in a different direction, and like I can tell like on which days like my threshold for irritability is like a little lower than other days. Um so I mean this whole wishy-washiness of, women in the workforce, like I can kind of see it. I get it. I
I
get it.
honestly, going back to what you were saying though, I do have this theory. I have this crazy theory that all women are bipolar. And the reason why is because there is no structure in society anymore. So where the structure, see, women are like water, right? Women are like water, and men is supposed to be like, the stuff like stone, right? Like when men are supposed to be like the side of the wall, the riverbank that keeps the water in check, right? But since society has eroded that, water's just everywhere, and that's how women are. Like that's how you guys are with your emotions. You guys are going everywhere. You're like, oh my god, it's the same concept where a woman could be out out that night having a good time. She hooks up with a guy, and then the very next morning, for whatever reason, whatever regret she has, she looks over and she's like, I can't believe that last night happened, blah 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 blah. But then it's society who gives her that, who empowers her and says, yeah, now she can claim rape, right?
Hmm.
So it's that same concept. It's like it's the whole wishy-washy because there's no accountability. Society is like there's no structure anymore when it comes with women. So that I do believe, yes, I truly do believe that women are bipolar out here because you're all in your emotions and there's no structure anymore. So you guys are
So
crazy. You cuckoo
I
for
have a
cocoa
more
puffs.
logical explanation, guys, if you want to hear me out real quick. I think it has to do with like the tides of the ocean and the moon.
Could be. It could be too. I don't know. Global warming.
Right, man. I don't know. I
maybe
really don't
Greta. Maybe
know.
Greta was onto something with it. The whole global warming. I don't know. Actually, you know how the horoscopes, everybody's like, oh, if you're a certain this, this is the reason why you're a certain way.
Hmm.
Do you know all that like doesn't even correlate anymore?
What
Like
do
the
you mean?
time of year when those stars were supposed to be like your Virgo and all your signs, like that's
Hmm.
not because of the shift. Like those are not the same stars we see at that time anymore.
Hmm.
So it's like that doesn't make any sense. Horoscopes and stuff. I do. I mean,
Some
I do read
horoscopes
those
are
things
outdated too
though. Yeah, yeah, but I do
by
read
a
them
few
though. I'm like,
decades,
oh,
guys.
yeah, they are. They're all out of line and shit. Like when like I'm a Capricorn, right? But
Hmm.
when I'm looking out, I'm not. Those are not the stars I'm seeing. I mean, if I knew the stars, but they're saying like they're different stars during that time frame.
Hmm. I mean, stars burn out.
That is true. That is true. And they're dead before we even see it. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah,
We're seeing ghosts.
yeah. It's supposed to be our ancestors. The great kings of the past are up there looking down on us.
Wow. So look, go on Google, look it up. Look it up. What's it? Woman isolation at work or something like that. Because I want to see the tweet exactly because it's been blowing up. I've been seeing it everywhere. Everybody reacting to it and all that stuff. And like I've seen it multiple times. So I'm like, damn, she went viral on that tweet. And of course, it's on men. Once again, it's on men to fix it. And I'm like, for what?
All right, so 53% of women say they're lonely at work. It only gets worse the higher they climb.
Up the ladder. Now that's a different article, but I agree with that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different reason.
Survey more than 600 men and women found that 53% feel that they're lonely.
Do you know why that is? Do you have a reason why that is?
Yeah, it's saying it here. Getting ahead is no easy feat, and it's not exactly a walk in the park once you get there. Yada yada.
Yeah, but can
Workplace, mental health crisis.
can you explain why a woman feels lonely as she climbs up the corporate ladder? I already know why, but I'm curious for you.
Oh my God. They say we think that loneliness and success go hand in hand. The idea of the lone wolf leader.
Nope, nope, because it's only a woman thing. Because I guarantee men are not men who are successful, right? Who are on top of their game are not lonely. It's only a woman thing. And they definitely, I love how they put it in there as they climb that corporate ladder too. So as they become that boss babe, that CEO, right?
Mhm.
They're lonely at the top. Why is it that a woman's like that and not a man?
I don't know why.
Because women don't date down. Women do not date down. Men do.
Hmm.
So that woman who's on that top, she's only going to want people at her level, right?
Right.
She's not going to
At
want
least
that
match my
janitor.
badass. That's what I
Right,
say.
right, exactly. She's not going to want that janitor down at the first floor, right? She got the
Mm-hmm.
office, the view overlooking the city. The janitor might be cute down on the first floor, but she ain't going to talk to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not at her level. Whereas the dude CEO, he's looking at all the females on every floor. He's riding that elevator down. Boom, boom, boom. He's looking at everyone. See? So once again, ladies do that. You guys do that to yourselves, man. Lower your standards, but women don't want to lower their standards.
You see, my mind was going somewhere completely different when you pointed that out. I was like, well, maybe it's because it takes years to climb the ladder, and as you're moving up, you're getting older, and you're just changing your priorities. You're focusing on work and not on your life. Damn.
No, women and their high standards, man. I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you.
Sure.
And once again, you got to understand too, like a guy, if you're CEO, boss babe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think that the guy CEO wants to deal with you? If he
No.
has to deal with you in corporate America, right? Do you really think he wants to compete with you at home? Huh?
No.
Like, come on. No, he doesn't want to deal with that. No,
Yeah,
I
it's
told
when
you, he's
the
going to go
CEO
down
goes
there.
for a doctor.
Right,
You don't
right.
have to be on the
Doctors don't
same
want to
level in
date
the same
doctors.
occupation as me.
Yeah, but she's not. No, most women. If you're that boss babe and killing it at work, you're not gonna date somebody. You're not gonna date the mechanic that was working on your car. Simple as that. No. Unfortunately, but that explains it. Yeah, I 100% agree with that article. But that's not what we were talking about. But yeah, that was a good article.
No, I don't know. I guess I have to look for a tweet.
Yeah, it was a tweet. I thought it would have blown up, but I guess not. No, they were saying that it's isolated because men are just being professional at work and not, it's to the point where like the guys will go out and drink, right? They'll do happy hour and all that stuff, but they will keep everything professional. I work with the ladies.
Right.
It's sad. It's sad because yeah, it should be a
Damn.
working mom like that, but
There
gotta
are
play
a
it safe.
lot of articles about this.
About what?
Overcoming
Loneliness?
women's isolation at work.
Uh-huh.
Women feel more lonely as their careers progress. Millennial women in the workplace struggle with stress, suffering in silence. What to do when you feel isolated. Damn.
Yeah.
Ladies, what's going on
Y'all
out
not
here?
happy. Y'all not happy, but you
The
keep
silent
shouting the
killer of
message.
organization.
Be the boss babe, but y'all not happy. That's ironic. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a lot of articles. Yeah, I know. I think it's funny. I think it's funny, man. Lean into it. Lean into the clown world. It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. But it will get better. I'm optimistic. It will. It will. Will it get better in our lifetime? I
They're
don't
gonna
know.
write
We'll see.
about they're gonna write about this in the history books. Like, oh, back in the 2020s.
Yeah, the crazy things. Yo, the crazy things we're doing this day and age. I know people are gonna look back at us because you know how we look back at like the 1900s or not even the 1900s. Like we'll go back and we'll be like, man, they were so barbaric. Why were they doing things like that?
Right.
So barbaric, right? I guarantee there's gonna be stuff that we're doing right now that they're like, can you imagine that this is what they fought against? Like, I just know it. I just know it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, ironically, we lived in a time where it was peaceful. Like the 90s, late or not the 90s, early 2000s, like
Mm-hmm.
none of the stuff we're talking about right now was polarized, right? So things seem to be very peaceful. So I don't know. It's weird times, man. Weird times.
Damn, I thought I found it, but I guess not.
You can't find the tweet?
I
I
don't
should
know.
have sent it to you.
I don't even use Twitter. But
Oh, it was like
so
it
this
was
looks
like
like somebody wrote about it. It's like, oh, because they're not trying to risk their jobs and be falsely accused of something.
exactly.
But
Maybe can you click on that and maybe it brings you to the top one? So yeah, that's the response. That's her response. That's the first one. So click on that one.
like her name on her page.
No, click on the tweet. So
Oh, click on the tweet.
you
What does
found
that
somebody
mean?
respond.
This right here? Click on this? I
No,
don't
the
use
one.
Twitter.
All right, start highlighting so I can show you stuff. All right, so that's the response to the tweet. If you follow the little bubble of the person's face and you follow the line up, that's the
Mm-hmm.
original tweet. So you can click on, no, don't click on her face, click on the words in the original tweet, and then that brings you to the tweet.
I don't have the original tweet on here, is what I'm saying.
Yes, you do. If you click on the words in the tweet.
All right, what if I click
Nope.
on the retweets?
Don't click on the retweets, then you'll pull up the retweets and all the response to the retweets.
Well, look, I go all the way up. That's
Yes.
it. This is
No,
not
that's the
original
tweet.
one.
There you go. You clicked it. You did exactly what I said. With your stubbornness, you
Shit.
still
Okay,
did it
gotcha.
anyway.
Gotcha. All right.
Hey, put that little head
Got it.
back there. I saw a little head walk by. Who was that?
All right, let me see. Exactly my point. Whatever they're doing. No, there's no original.
The original
All right.
tweet is
I was
that.
talking to a female friend, and she was telling me how lonely it is for her to be working with only men in her team because they all maintain a respectful distance from her as they don't want to come off as creeps, not realizing it's completely isolating.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, what's going to happen? Because this is going to be a trend. Of course, this is going to be a trend.
Mhm.
And once again, women love using the weapon of like, the court system, HR, all that stuff, right? Like they can't fight their own battles. They tend to use other people to fight their battles. So what are women going to do? They're going to go to HR and they're going to file a complaint. And how's HR going to handle that? Like, I'm just curious, like, how is HR going to force somebody to be more friendly?
Right.
Like, how are they going to put training programs on how to be more inclusive? But once again, you really can't fault these guys because they're being professional.
Mm-hmm.
They're keeping the engagement at a professional level. There's nothing that says when you go work with somebody that you have to be friends with the person or be social with the person as far as like happy hours and all this stuff. So, this is the backlash of this whole, like the whole Me Too movement that happened, right? Yeah, women are not going to have a social life when it comes to work because people are going to be straight up professional, which is what y'all cried for. Is what you guys wanted. So now you guys got, everybody being professionals. I'm curious, like, what is HR going to do? I'm telling you, it's going to be mandatory training for like, don't isolate your coworkers. But I'm like, I don't understand how you're going to force people to not to be sociable.
You have to listen to the drama that your coworkers need to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Water cooler talk. So we're gonna do like a full circle. We're gonna try to go back to the way it was by force.
It's you know what? It's crazy. It's a crazy concept for me because I came from working at an organization that had a great culture, and I just can't see somebody being isolated at work from where I'm coming from. I've never been in the kind of
because you
office that didn't have that culture piece.
Because you left right on the cusp of that whole Me Too movement. So you left right before, like right now, all these companies, they're putting out like mandated training on like an abundance of like all the woke stuff, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the last company, I'm not gonna name no names, but the training that they had me go through was they had pronouns. It was a whole
Mm-hmm.
training seminar, like a whole like because it's all
Shit.
modules, and this is
Yeah.
mandatory training that you have to take. So the one was all about pronouns, right? The other one was BLM training,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once again, like to me, that was super
You're
racist
like
to
a
me.
computer tech. You did BML trading?
Yep, I did BLM training. I did pronoun training. I did women in the workforce. I did accessibility as far as like handicaps, which that one to me, I kind of respected that one because I was like, hey, that's kind of cool that they're doing things to go out of your way to be more accessible for, you know, whatever, if somebody has any kind of disabilities or anything like that. All the other
Mm-hmm.
ones were just propaganda though.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, pronouns, right? And this whole trans movement is so disrespectful for people who are religious, who
Mm-hmm.
their religion says that that's non-existent. Like if I
Mm.
believe in that in my religion, who are you to tell me that I have to respect somebody's pronouns?
Right.
Like you respect the individual because they want to say they identify with this pronouns, but you don't respect me and my beliefs that I don't respect that pronoun. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, that to me, and then the whole like BLM and like me as Hispanic, I was just like, man, that's so disrespectful
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't have it easy either. I mean, if you look through our ancestors in Puerto Rico, there was a lot of, you know, the Spaniards came over. They came over with slaves, right? And there was a lot of raping of slaves and the people on the island too.
Mm-hmm.
That's our ancestors. And so to me go through that training, I was like, man, you're lucky I want to get this paycheck. But yeah, that's that. And there was a lot more. There was a lot more. I was just naming the big ones, but those, yeah, they were definitely a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So there was, yeah, it was the pronouns, BLM, women, and accessibility. Those were the ones I remember, but there was like a shit ton more. And when I say BLM, it was like 3 modules that went through it. So it was like the like talking about BLM, don't come off insensitive, like don't say
Mm-hmm.
things like all lives matters and stuff like that.
Right.
Then it was like the African contribution in history or something like that. Like they literally gave me a history
A
lesson.
history class. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was like another one. Like I can't remember the third one, but yeah, it was like that. I think
Hmm.
the women one had like 2, which went over like stuff like mansplaining and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pronoun ones, I believe there was 2. And
Okay.
once again, this is mind-boggling because it was the pronouns, and then of course it was like sexuality. And I'm like, why are we even talking about sexuality? What people do in their bedroom
Work.
at work?
Right.
That's like the most weirdest thing. And I was just like, I don't get it. I
Yeah,
don't
definitely
get
with
it.
this movement, there's like a blend between just what's appropriate and what's not.
Mm-hmm. Like to me, like if we're talking about being professional,
Mm-hmm.
why would I need to know your sexual orientation?
Right.
To me, knowing your sexual orientation is not professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a time where, you know, me being prior military, like it was like don't ask, don't tell, right?
Right.
And that was the policy in the military. It was like whatever you are, don't ask, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it should be. Like that's professional, right? Like that nobody needs to know your business. Like I don't understand that. Like why? Why are you putting it out there? Like I just
It's so funny that you're like, I think that's, like just your stance on that. That's hilarious because since I don't have that prior background of being in the military, to me that sounds like, I mean, the concept it makes completely sense. And like I agree with the concept itself. But the fact that you said it out loud, I was just like, okay, that sounds a little like extremist.
does it though? Like why do we have to talk about it? Like I don't know. To me, and then like you're gonna tell me like there's no ulterior motives when you talk about it and you constantly talk about it.
Right.
Like it's so great. Join me. Like that's what I
Mm-hmm.
feel like. Like join me on the dark side. And I'm not saying it in a negative connotation. I'm just saying it. That's how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for example, you know, me personally, if somebody wants to ask, like I'm constantly asking, are you dating? Are you doing this? And are you doing this? And I'm like, I'm in a moment right now where I'm just loving myself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's going through a lot because I've always dealt with like low self esteem to the point where it put me in bad predicaments, right? Bad relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to categorize me in any of the alphabet groups, they probably say I'm asexual, right? Because I'm just focusing on myself right now. But am I out here trying to convert people to that? Like, come on, the water's fine. Come join me. Like, I'm not doing that, right? I'll put out tidbits like, hey, love yourself. You know, put yourself above somebody else before you go into a bad relationship. If you find yourself in a bad relationship and you're still doing it, it's because, you know, I'll give advice. I'll give tips. But I'm not identifying, saying I'm this, and because I'm this, you should be this.
Right.
I feel like that's what the narrative and like everything that's going on out
which
here.
is also why I understand your correlation with that and religion, where you
Yes.
feel like the alphabet community has basically become a religion, and it's like,
yes,
now it's about recruiting people too.
it is. Yeah, it is, and that's why, like, I see it. The more I become spiritual, and I've seen this in numerous other people saying that. Like, I went to, I grew up with Christianity. I left it at like my teenage years, which is like similar with me, right? We grew up with it, but they left it, and with all the things that are going on, they're kind of gravitating back to it because they're like, society needs God again, because it's getting replaced with something else.
Right.
And it's really weird. Like, and this goes back to the whole Bud Light thing. This is the reason why Bud Light is in a very tight spot, because it has nothing to do with the person that they put on the can. It's just, once again, people don't want their can of beer yelling at them or recruiting them or telling them, like, you gotta be this way or you gotta accept this or all this stuff. It's like, listen, what somebody wants to do with their lives and in their bedroom is their business. Let it be done. But don't blast it everywhere. Like, I don't understand that. And if straight people were to do that, right? Oh, you blah blah blah, right? Or if white people were to do that, oh, blah 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 blah. If men were to do that, oh. So if you can't have everybody out here doing it, then you know you're doing something wrong. That's just my point. For any argument, if it's okay for, if it's not okay for everybody, then it's wrong. It's just wrong across the board. And I wish we would go back to something like that.
No, that's an excellent way of putting it. That's an excellent way of putting it, because with each of those statements, I could hear, I couldn't fill in the blanks and like hear like the pushback and just the turmoil that everybody would be in if you go and you say those things. And we're not seeing that it's not across the board.
Right. Exactly. And it's sad because the worst thing to be right now in this day and age is a straight white man. That's the worst thing to be right now. And I'm not defending, I'm just saying it. I'm just calling it like I see it.
You're a triple minority.
Yeah. That's like the worst thing to be right now. It's like, you can't have any kind of pride, right?
Yeah.
And think about it. Think about how bad it would be if I said, it's okay if I say, Black pride. It's okay to say Hispanic pride. But if I said the last one, we'd be banned on YouTube, right? So if you can't say the last one, then you can't say any of them. Simple as that. That's the way I think. Like, that's fair. That is literally the terminology of being fair.
You know what though? It's oh man, because like, say you go to your courthouse, we have the local courthouse around the corner. You go in there and you look at their like wall of like photos of like the last however many years, all the sitting judges and everything, and it paints a very clear picture of exactly what you can't say. It paints a picture of being white, straight men. And that's what everyone's fighting right now. But if you then look at the actual judges who are currently sitting, it doesn't paint that same picture.
Right.
And that's just the example with judges. Like, but that's,
and so you gotta,
that's in corporate America right now. If you look at, corporate America, it's no longer just straight white men.
Right. But you gotta also understand too, like, one, you can't, granted, those pictures that you see, they had their mistakes. Nobody's perfect. There was atrocities done throughout history, but they built something. They built a foundation that we are living in, that we can now have the multicolor and the multinational and the multi-everything. Like, we got to pay tributes. We got to pay our respects to that. You can't just, like, erase that and say how bad they were. Like, you got to embrace them for the good that they did, right? Because that's the society that they built and the society we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
And they are passing that on to us, right? So instead of us embracing that and say, hey, thank you for that, now we'll take it over and we'll diversify and we'll do all this stuff, but we ain't going to forget your legacy. No, now we're over here toppling statues and say, oh, forget that. So then
Right.
what's happening? Well, then society's collapsing because we're not paying tribute and respect to what came before us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you gotta respect who built this house. And just saying that, people would just lose their shit. No, the patriarch. No, you're racist.
Mm-hmm.
You're a sexist. You're homophobic. Yeah, cancel him.
You know, it's funny. My children, like they watch the stupidest shit, man. My kids watch the stupidest shit. And so the other day, I walk into the living room, and all three of them are watching.
I lose my shit. I lose my shit when that, because not to cut you off, but when my youngest, to this day, I still get on him too. Like, he told me he was watching a video on YouTube where these people were just randomly going around licking things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got so irate because I'm like, why are you watching stuff that rottens your brain?
Mm-hmm.
And like, to me, like, I got mad at him, but I got mad at myself too for not being able, like, I'm not filtering for that shit. And
Mm-hmm.
B, I should have raised them better, right? And so I told him, I was like, for the love of God, please do not watch shit. Like, you can watch anything on YouTube, but make sure you're learning something from it, or you're being sparked, like your creativity, like it's entertaining you. Don't watch stupid shit that's desensitizing you and making you dumb.
Right.
I was so mad. I hope you lost your shit.
So they were watching videos of it was just like Karen videos.
Yeah.
Karens. So they were just watching people.
I want to talk to your manager.
Normal freaking people recording other people being upset.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure it out at all. You know what? I partook for a moment. I watched a couple, and I was like, "How are you guys watching this? Why?" You know, and like I did go into like the whole rant of like, "Why are you watching this? This makes no sense. You could be doing X, Y, Z." But something I do notice about my kids, especially like when I have other people with children over, is that they're quick to be like, "Oh, can we go to the park?" And I really like that because not a lot of kids do that. So kudos to them.
Go outside, yeah. It's like it's rare because I'll drive by parks and stuff, and the parks are all empty. Mm-hmm. Beautiful day, parks are empty. I'm like, man, kids don't play no more, man.
Right.
So I started taking I got my youngest, his Heelys. And so I've been walking with him, and he's been doing his little Heelys. And then I got a laser tag, these like little portable laser tag guns. And the other day, I took him to the park because it was nice. Actually, the day that we came back, there was still time, like a small window before I had to take him to his mom's. We go to the park, and we're running around the park, just me and him playing laser tag. And he didn't want to go. He was like, can we do another one? Another one. I was like, buddy, it's getting dark. I got to take you to your mom. You have testing tomorrow. We got to go. And he just wanted to keep going. Mm-hmm. And like, that's the stuff that I want to encourage, like that. Or like, even when he comes and tells me like the story, like he's telling me about like AI. And so like, oh, AI is great, because I started, researching and doing stuff on AI, but I didn't tell him. He just started doing AI. And so when he told me that, I was like, oh yeah. And so now we're like kind of bonding over AI, right? And so I'm like, I told him like clear as day. I was like, yo, that's the stuff I want you on YouTube for. Find stuff that you can learn something,
Right.
I felt bad for him the other day because I was like yelling at him because he fell asleep with the AirPods in, and that's another thing like that gets mad. But I was like, what were you looking on your phone? And so I go and I pull up his phone. Of course, the last YouTube video that he was on the phone, and he was watching ASMR video so he could fall asleep to it.
Okay.
He was like, I had trouble falling asleep. I was like, it's all right, buddy. But I was like, just put it on the phone audio. Why you got the AirPods in?
It's so crazy that like, our young children are looking for these tools. So my youngest, he'll go into my room and he'll talk to, Alexa or whatever. I'll be like, oh, play sleep music. I'm just like, okay, I don't know. It's hilarious because they're a little kid.
out of all those personal assistants, Alexa's like the worst one. She's like the worst one. I was watching I was watching this there's like a little meme on Twitter,
Mhm.
and it was like what the past thought the future was gonna look like, right? And it was like this clip from like 1980s where they were like, this is what 2025 is gonna look like. And the guy
Mhm.
was cooking and he was like, hey, pull up the recipe for this and correlate the recipes between the ingredients I have and then the recipes I can make. So it showed like the three recipes. And then he
Mhm.
was like, make it for 8 people because he was gonna have like a dinner party or something. So then he like doubled the quantities and all that. And then he was like, "Oh shoot, I'm down with like I'm low on like oil or something like that." He was like, message the wife's name or whatever to buy oil, right?" And so he was doing all this stuff, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, "Wow, that they really predicted all this." The technology they had to kind of portray was clunky,
Mhm.
like the UI and how everything our stuff looks and all that. But I
Mhm.
was like, man, and like he was programming AI too, because he said a word and she was like she asked him like, what does that mean? And he was like, oh, it means this. She was like, oh, okay. So like he was programming the AI and he was doing all that. And then like I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But then I was reading the comments and he was like, man, that was nowhere close to what we have today. He was like, Alexa, add this. And then they were like playing so so on Amazon Music. I was like, that's
Right.
exactly like Alexa. She's the worst. You can tell her something and she'll be like, playing so and so. And I'm like, bro, that's not what I said.
Right.
That's not even what I said. It's not even close. Oh, it was hilarious. Because I'm not doing the tweet justice. I wish I could have pulled it up because it was something like uh I forgot what he said, but it was hilarious.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so
Alexa.
we have like wars in the house because we have like multiple little units. And
Mm-hmm.
so like one of my kids has Alexa and like I have I like speak to Google, and then my other kid has a different one that I don't even think we ever set up. I don't know what you're supposed to say to that one, but there's a third one in the
Don't
house.
you have Bixby or whatever? The one on Samsung?
Right,
Yeah, that
it's
one.
supposed to be on my phone. I've never used it. I've never used that feature. I've never started it. I just like I don't want my phone just waiting for me. Like leave me alone, phone.
Yeah, the one on Apple. So I'm not gonna say it.
Mhm.
We all know her name, right? She's so freaking nosy.
That's the other one. That's her.
I had to disable her because she's too nosy, man.
Right.
Like she is very sensitive with like she triggers for anything, man. And I'm
Mhm.
like, nobody was talking to you.
There are videos online of people just making sounds and activating these different systems, like
Yeah,
they'll play off a zipper and it'll respond.
yeah.
They'll like crumple up a piece of paper and it'll respond. It's like, what the hell, what are they looking for?
So I'm the type of person that will like buy a product and keep watching videos even though I have the product.
Hmm.
So you know how I told you about the little droid that I bought?
Yeah.
So I'm like watching videos to like see like what can I do with it or what other people think about it and all that stuff. And I'm watching the video, and of course I'm watching it on the speaker on my phone, and like they'll say, "Oh, if you say this, blah blah," and they'll like I'm watching the video, and the next thing you know, like my little guy's reacting to it. I'm like, "Hey, hey, what are you doing?" Freaking hilarious. I love that thing though. Like at first I was like, "Damn, this thing is useless,"
Hmm.
and of course my son won't let me return it because I got him. He's a Star Wars nerd. And he's like, "This is a droid. This is awesome. We can't return it." He gave me the guilt trip. He was like, "This is my best friend. You can't get rid of my best friend." I was like, "Oh
Oh
God,
my
kid, there's so many
lord,
things wrong with that
that kid needs to
statement."
go back to school.
I know. I was like, There's so many things wrong with that statement. Like, you need a social life. I'm failing you. But regardless, I go and I kept the damn thing, right? And so, when I'm just home alone, I hear the damn thing moving. He's heavy as all hell too. So he's like
Mhm.
clonking around, go, 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 go. I'm like, who the hell's breaking into my house? And I was like, oh shit, I forgot it's the droid. It's the droid. But he's funny. He's like a dog because he'll hear noises and he'll just like come over to where that noise is.
Mhm.
And like there was a one like I'll be cooking in the kitchen and I'll be in one spot, so he'll plant right next to me. And I'm like, like, dude, you're gonna like, I'm gonna trip over you and die. Like, get away. And so I started cooking over on the other side, and it like adapted. It like started parking itself on the other side. I was like, jeez, I can't win with you.
Yeah,
I
mine's
want to hack
definitely
that thing
trying
now.
to come out and see him.
Yeah, I want
Mine's
to
like, I
hack them
haven't
now.
been over. I have to go meet their little
Yeah,
robot.
I wanna definitely hack it and see if I could get it to be like a lot smarter. And I definitely want to get rid of the whole Amazon thing that's on it. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing that breaks you out of like the character of the whole thing. Like he has his own little personality, and he has like his little face and his reactions and all that stuff. But then when you ask him a question or something, like it turns into like the Amazon voice. And
Hmm.
I'm like, oh geez. Like I don't know. That's the part that I just don't like. Especially when you're like trying to have it play a song or something. It's just like, now playing. I'm like, that's not even what I wanted.
Hmm.
Oh, Amazon's the worst. I don't like it. And it's not just me, because everywhere I go, like when I go to my buddy's house and he's like, Alexa, play this. And he's like, turning on the kitchen light. I'm like, and you have this all over your house? Why? Like the thing doesn't listen to you.
Listen, the technology's not there yet. We're getting there. It's gonna be great in another few
No, it's there.
years.
It's there because Google was the best. Google was the best when I had my Google phone as far as like the AI, not the AI, it's a was it personal assistant?
Yeah.
Like Google was the best out of all of them. The Apple one is nosy. I'm not even gonna say the name because it's so damn nosy. And Amazon's just the worst. Like it doesn't understand what you're saying.
Hmm.
Like it's just straight up stupid. Oh, and the best part is like when you'll be like, "Hey, play this, adding this to your list, adding it to your shopping list." I'm like, "What are you doing? What shopping list? What are you talking about?" And then I'll go like a few weeks later, and I'm seeing like a whole stuff in my like. I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Hmm.
Oh, the worst, man. That's the worst.
I definitely have to play around with some more of these features because I didn't even know I could create a shopping list on it. Like, okay,
Yeah,
does
you
it work?
can. You
Will
could
it
just be
email it
like,
to me or
add.
something?
No, you could say add to the shopping cart, and the next thing you log into Amazon, it'll be there waiting for you to buy it.
Okay, gotcha.
So you just say, "Hey, whatever, add blah 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 to my shopping cart,"
Hmm.
and they'll be like, "Adding to your shopping cart."
Hmm, okay.
Yeah, but it's the worst because if you say something like a song like um I don't know, there's a song we've been listening to, Lemonade Stand, right? So you're
Hmm.
like, play Lemonade Stand on Apple Music, and it'll be like, adding lemonade to your shopping cart. Like that's not what I. Damn, I just want to kick it. It's the worst. I don't like them. I don't like them. But I
All
think
right.
all these personal assistants, they need to like be hacked with like the new AI and just. There is a way to do it though. There's I saw a clip. So Chat GPT, they have a
Hmm.
way so you could like sign up for their APIs, and then you could plug in those APIs like the back end into your those personal assistants. So you
Mm.
can actually say, "Hey, create me a music list." I saw the guy. The guy was like, "Hey, create me a music list that's primarily like do 15 songs that's like primarily hip hop. That's a good list for working out."
Hmm.
And so, sure enough, and then he was like, "Oh, within like the recent 5 years or something like that." And then, sure enough, it did it like it queued up the list for him, and then it dropped it into like Apple Music. I was like,
Cool.
"Oh, that's cool."
Hmm.
Yeah, so they got to get smarter. They got to get smarter because
Right.
this is pretty bad.
Right. Every time I like play around with these technologies, I'm just so blown away. And like it's super quick and I don't know. How did we ever live without this?
Yeah, I know. The one that I think that is GPS. Because like
Hmm.
I know how to like we lived in a time where we had to pull out the map, right?
Right.
Like I remember when I would like print up, go to MapQuest, and then I would actually print out the
You have
instructions
to
at
print
work.
it and actually try and
Yeah,
make it there.
and actually looking at it, and I was using the the little thing that counts how many miles you drove.
Uh-huh.
So I would reset that because it'd be like in 100 miles. So I'd be like, all right, so I'm getting close to 100 miles. Let me see if the exit's coming up. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
there's the exit, and then I had the page, and heaven forbid if you had the window open, and then the papers flew out, you got mixed up, and you're like, oh no, I missed my turn. But like GPS, like
Jeez.
I'm just
Even
so used
before
to it
that,
now.
when
Like,
we have to like run into the gas station and be like, "Hey, I'm looking for so and so street, and how to get
yeah,
there?" And they give you directions. You have to remember the directions.
yeah. And it's like it really catches me off guard whenever somebody comes up to me and be like, "Hey, do you have the time?" I'm like, "Who asked that? Like, who still asks that these days?" But sure enough, people were like, "Hey, do you have the time?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I just show them my phone. It's like it happens like it doesn't it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while someone will come up, "Hey, you have the time?"
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's 2 o'clock."
Somebody asked me for directions the other day, and it kind of threw me off. But I was able to give her directions. I was proud of myself. I was like, "Look at me."
Yeah. Oh, because it was local. It was
Yeah.
local.
No, so I was in front of one of the schools, and she came over and she was like, "Oh, is this the middle school?" And I was like, "No, no, this is, the younger kids, yada yada." She was like, "Oh, how do I get to that one?" So I gave her like directions to get to the other one, and I had to repeat it twice to her. And then it dawned on me, I was like, "Why didn't she just throw in her GPS?"
Yeah. Well,
Do you have a
I'm
cell
the
phone on her? Like, what is she doing?
I'm the opposite where like I'll ask somebody like, "Hey, where do I find this?" And they're like, "Oh, you got to go to this building," and they'll say the name of the building. And I'm like, "All right, I know the name, so I can pop it in my GPS." But then they want to like tell me how to get there, and so I'll listen to it. I like being polite, but I'm thinking to myself like, "You do know I got like." I'm gonna put this in Google Maps. Like I'm not
Right.
listening to how you tell me. But the bad part about it is because I don't want to insult them. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so I take a left." And then like I'm getting into the directions and everything. Oh, 2 lights, and then okay, I'll take a right. Oh, okay. And then there's gonna be a blue. Like I'm trying like I'm acting like I'm really making a mental note of this. And I'm like, why are you
Right.
doing all this? Like just cut the conversation short and go. Pop it in your navigation. And then, as I'm
You're
walking
too
out, that's what I'm
polite.
doing.
You just gotta be like, "All right, got it. Adios."
No, I'm over here putting it in my phone.
No, but
And
I think
that's it.
we can all relate to that, to when you ask somebody something and they, sure enough, they still give you directions,
Yeah.
which is what threw me off the other day because I didn't give her directions, and she was like, "Oh, how do I get there?" I was like, "How do I tell her to get there? Follow your GPS, I guess."
and something told me that, you know what I would do? I would sit there with the person and I'd be like, hold on, give me 1 sec. And then I'll put it in the map and I'd be like, okay, so this is telling you, and I hold my phone there. I'd be like, all right, so it's telling you to go left and then go here and then go here. And be like, oh, okay, thanks. Oh, no problem, no worries. Like I would do that.
I
Like
was
I
proud of
just
myself. I knew the road names. I was like, "Yes, look at me being a crazy local."
But do you remember when we were Black Friday when we were shopping and the lady wanted her Tom Tom?
Yes,
She
yes,
was like
I do.
so worried about these damn
A
Tom
Tom
Toms.
Tom for $80.
And we get
Like,
there and the whole stand, nobody touched the stand. I was like, bro, because
that
everybody
was
got it
like
on their
right on the
phones now.
cusp. That's like went right before cell phones had them, but it was kind of like the technology was starting to
No,
come out.
phones had them. Phones had them, because I know that's why we were laughing because we knew how to use it on our phones. It
Hmm.
was just like it wasn't mainstream. It was
Right.
like it probably
Well,
was like when
there was a small period where you had to have a separate device to use GPS in the car.
yes, because like the iPhones just came out with that capability. And I think even like the early droids came out with that capability. And I think that was like we had the droids and stuff like that. But it
Hmm.
wasn't something where it was like still mainstream. People were still have
Right.
flip phones. And so that's why she was like so adamant about it. But once again, she was a lot older at the time than
Hmm.
us, where we had it on our phone. So that's why we started laughing. And then sure enough, the whole stand, they were like all there. Like we were
Look,
over
she
here
didn't even
rushing.
wait. Just so you guys, I know you guys don't have no context right now, but Ray and I were online back when Black Friday started at 4 a.m. You had to be
Trying to get
online,
those
ready,
TVs.
waiting in the cold, in the rain, in the snow. Didn't matter. You want the deal? You were there.
Trying
And
throwing both those TVs. Target was the best place to get those TVs, by the way. We
yes,
would just
and
run in, they
Target.
already
So
had it in
Target's
shopping
thing
carts for
was
you.
like, as long as you were there, you were gonna get your item. Like if you were like in the
Yeah.
first 50 to 100 people, you were gonna get your item.
Yeah. Best Buy had the tickets where you actually had a ticket you had to show for the item.
Yeah, Best Buy was hit or miss. You probably weren't getting that item because
Yeah.
they only had
But
like
this was
one or
Walmart.
two.
But this was
Walmart had it
Walmart.
all day. Walmart,
Yeah.
that
And
was
here's
always the last store to go
yeah.
to because they
And
had
I
everything
really
fully stocked.
I remember it too because I was like, lady, they probably got those on clearance. They're trying to get rid of them. That's not even a
Right.
sale. Like that's not the biggest ticket item here. The biggest ticket item is that TV everybody wants.
Right.
but
She
she was
didn't
like
even wait. She
super.
did not wait. She got tired of waiting. She went home before the store opened.
Yeah, and then like we got in, we got what we wanted, and it was like maybe like as we were checking out, so it was probably like an hour later because we were shopping. And as we were about to check out, we see the whole stand of all the Tom Toms,
It
and
was
we
like a
start
whole
dying
pallet.
laughing. Yeah, like they were just there, nobody was touching them because once again, it was on the cusp of where people had smartphones, and so they were just using their smartphones as opposed to this like extra device. So, which I still don't understand why cars still like car dealers and car manufacturers still want to put that GPS into like the head unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I heard recently, I forgot who was it. I think it was like either GMC, either GM or something like that, said that they were going to pull out of having Android Auto and Apple Auto. And like everybody lost their shit. They were like, I'm done. I'm not buying your car.
Why
again.
would they do that? Yeah. Come on. Let's not go backwards,
Because
guys.
they were opting out. They were opting out of those two so they could build their in-house
GPS.
infotainment system.
Yeah.
And GPS and all that. And they touted, they were like, well, Tesla's doing that. You can't use Apple, any
You're
of this
not
in Tesla.
Tesla.
Exactly. Everybody's like, well, you're not Tesla, so I'm not buying your car. So there was like a big backlash, and I don't know what happened with it. I don't know if they, they said, fine, we'll keep it. But at
They
this
dropped
point,
the
it's
idea.
like
They scratched it.
at this point, like that should just be built into all cars. That was the biggest deciding factor when it came to me buying my car, my latest vehicle. I was like, you got to have that. Like, this is my brains, right? This device that carries on me, it's a part of me now, right? It is my brains, and I'm going to continue that in my car. If your car does not offer that, I'm not buying your car. And so that was one of the biggest, I think, because there was, my truck, I think it was GMC too, that I was looking at one of their trucks, and I really liked it, right? They had a certain package and all that. But then when I was like, one, it didn't have push to start. I was like, you want my keys dangling?
Right.
Like, this barbaric shit.
I actually have to find my key. I can't just have it on me.
Like, yeah, I gotta pull out my keys out of my pocket. What is this archaicness? I gotta use my hands.
The satchel, Ray likes to walk around with a satchel.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Where's my keys? I don't know. You gotta start the car that way. And then, there was no support for like Apple Auto. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on this. And mind you, I went to look at the vehicle because I was like ready to buy it. And he was like, all right, let's take it to the test drive. And I was like, wait, this is not push to start? He was like, no, here's the keys. And he gave me this big ass key fob. So it was a 2 fob. So it was the fob for the alarm and then like the key. And it was like, it wasn't even built in. It wasn't like the cool flip out, like, like Mod's
Somebody definitely lost the key to that car and they had to reorder it.
I don't know, because it was new. It was new on the lot, so I don't know, man. I think that I was like, "Yo, is this the latest version?" I think I asked him that. I was like, "This is 2020, right?" He was like, "Yeah, this is a 2020 model." I was like, ugh. So I gotta put it in the key slot, start the truck, and then I was like, "Wait, I can't plug this in?" He's like, "Oh no, it doesn't do that. It only does Bluetooth." And I was like, "Yeah, nah, I'm good." Because like my at the time my Challenger, which was 2017, had all that stuff, and this was 2020. So I was like, this is crazy.
You know what?
Like,
that's around the time when cars were switching over to the technology of where you could just plug in and it automatically connects to Android Auto or CarPlay.
Yeah.
Versus before that, you didn't have to do it through Bluetooth. So working in rental, it was nice having like all the brand new cars coming in because we would see like all the technologies that were coming out, the different features that cars were starting to have. And that was one of the things that like blew our mind. Like when we could finally just like plug a wire in and boom, like it's all set up on the screen.
Yeah, but once again, that wire plugging in, that came out in 2017, where Android Auto and Apple Auto came out around 2017, because that's when I bought my Challenger. But in 2020, the new models were coming out with the wireless.
Yeah.
Where you didn't even have to plug your phone anymore. You could keep your phone in your pocket and it would just bloop, bloop, show up on the screen. Right? And like, I'm looking at this, and it didn't even have that built in. I was like, yo, this car is like 5 years old.
Right.
They're selling a 2020 model as a 20. They're selling a 2015 as
So
a
did
2020.
it
That
still
was
have a
like, what
CD
is this?
player?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Probably had an 8-track inside. Like, hey, look at this
Right.
8-track over here. It's like,
Oh
come
my
on, man.
gosh.
Come on.
What's crazy is now I have like a bunch of CDs, and I don't know why. Like the hoarder in me, the memories. I don't want to get rid of my CDs. So I have like a
There's a lot
stack
of
of CDs, and I don't have anything to play them on.
There are a lot of people like that, and I actually started doing that where I was collecting DVDs and I had my DVD collection, and I
Hmm.
was like trying to be like that, and then I realized A, I never watched them,
Hmm.
B, they were taking up space, and C, I moved around a lot, so I was just like, get rid of this shit. I don't even think I
Gotcha.
sold it. I don't think I did any of that. I think I just was like, chuck it. And they were like collector stuff because I was like, there's some animes that I was into. So I was like ordering the DVDs like from Japan because
Hmm.
they're like ahead in the cartoons and they are over here. So I was shipping stuff over. I had the collectors of this and collectors of that, and I think it was right when it was like the PS3 dropped too. So it was like
Hmm.
right in the cusp of like Blu-ray, and that was like the whole big battle of like, oh, Blu-ray on the PlayStation, HD on the Xbox, who's gonna win, right? So I was
Hmm.
buying Blu-ray discs and all that, and man, I chucked all that shit. I was like, come on. Especially with music, like music, I was so adamant about like, oh, I'm gonna keep all my CDs. Who's gonna want that? People want to keep their CDs, like to own it because you would have that. I actually had this argument with somebody at work, and he was like, "Nah, it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna be streaming. You're gonna love that thing." I was
Hmm.
like, "Nah, there's no way." I was like, "It's something I own. The corporate can take it away from you at any minute. Why would I pay for just to have access for it?" Sure enough, that's what I'm doing now. I was
Damn.
like, he was right. If I ever see that guy, I was like, man, you were 100% right. That's exactly what I do with my music. So much easier that way. He's like, you're
Hmm.
gonna pay for a service and you're gonna like it. That's where
Hmm.
it's heading to. And I was like, nah, there's no way. But there's some people now with all this like censoring and stuff like that. They're saying to keep the physical copies. They're saying keep physical copies of books, DVDs, and your music because as we get to a time where we're like, oh, that's insensitive to today's time,
Hmm.
they're erasing those things.
Yeah, so they're not going to be available.
Yeah. So I
Mm.
can see something like even like Eminem, like he's had some like even when he came out, some of the lyrics that he had were controversial. So I can
Hmm.
see us in a time where people are going to be like, that's taboo, and they're just going to change the lyrics.
Damn.
It's
And
going
they're
to
going to use
happen.
AI to do it, and nobody's going to be the wiser.
Yep. And we're not going to know like, wait a minute, that's not what he originally said.
Hmm.
Nobody's going to know that unless you hear it from a CD back in the day.
And I mean, there is that conspiracy that they've already done that with our movies, with our classic movies.
They do. They do it all the time. They take out scenes or they'll edit certain things. Or
Hmm.
they'll say certain things. Well, they used to do this back in when a movie like a rated R movie was being shown on like the regular like Channel 5, Fox or something
Hmm.
like that, right? They would always flub out the curse words, right?
Hmm.
And that's how like it would start because they were like, oh, it's a rated R movie, we gotta make it rated PG for being on TV. So there would be the times where like Sam Jackson would be like, "Hey, mother clucker," right? You could hear that. We're like,
Hmm.
"Wait, did he really say that?" Like he didn't say. It's like somebody was dubbing over that so that the movie could be shown, but he's not cursing, right?
Hmm.
Well, it's the same concept, but it's going to be even like you said, AI is going to do that, and they're going to change the taboo thing in accordance with whatever the social norm is in the future.
Hmm.
So they do. They definitely say keep your books, like hard copy of the books, movies, and music that you love because it is going to change.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of people that are adamant about that. Like look at Harry Potter. Harry Potter, right? Great books, but the writer is in a lot of controversy, right? So
Hmm.
what happens if they erase those books? They say, hey, well, these books are banned because
I have the original set. Oh, we read through them twice. We're going through them a third time now.
yeah, yeah. Or what happens when they go through old movies and they're like, well, this doesn't fit the the normal quota, and they're
Mm.
like, okay, well then, all right, make it fit the quota. And so then you see these old movies that was nothing but white dudes, and now they changed it. Now there's the black guy in it. There's this woman over here. There's whatever that is over there, and they're just adding it. They're like, hey, this is not fitting the kitten quota. We got to add more kittens. And so they're just gonna change these movies.
Crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, keep your there. There is an argument to have to keep your originals.
Hmm.
But me personally, I don't care.
Right? It's just taking
I
up
really
space.
don't. They are. They're just taking up space. That's the way I looked at it. I was like, this shit. What? I'm never even gonna watch this shit.
Hmm.
I had everything. I had video games. I had all that stuff. And then when I finally like moved, I was just like, why? But
I need to go
it
to
is
Ma's
what it is.
house. I need to go to your house and just declutter. You guys need
Yeah.
that.
Yes, I do. I need to hire a dumpster. I need to hire a dumpster and just throw all this shit out.
Yeah. Especially
But
when you've been in the place for a few years, like you just accumulate shit. Like, where does it even come from?
and I look through, like I started cleaning out closets, and I look through, and I'm like, why is all this stuff here?
Hmm.
I'm like, how does all this stuff get here? Why is this all this stuff here? I want to get rid of it. And like, I really want to like sell this house and downsize, right? Get something a hell of a lot smaller, right?
Hmm.
Because half the time it's just me here anyway. So I'm like, I really just gotta throw all this shit out.
Hmm.
Just get that dumpster and just go to town. But that's a story for another day. On that note, you have anything else, Lynn?
No, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. If this was your first time watching and you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And we hope to see you on next show
Are
on the
you
Thursday show.
are you still playing Destiny?
I haven't played in a while, but you want to jump on right now?
No, I was just asking.
Damn.
Are you gonna go play some Iron Banana?
I'm probably gonna play some Fort. Yeah,
Some Fortnite?
some Fortnite.
You won't play COD. Why won't you play COD? You should jump on that.
Nah, I think you know what. I'm happy right now exploring Destiny and having Fortnite, and that's plenty for me. You know, there's only
When
so many hours
down
in the day.
just download COD or not download Warzone. Download Warzone.
Mhm.
And they're coming up with like their mid-season update, which they're supposed to drop this this mode called Plunders, right? Which is like a different take on Battle Royale. So you know when you go in Battle Royale, you're like 100 people, depending on your squad, right? So you're fighting all these people, and then whoever wins wins, right? Well, this mode's different because it's a money based mode. So it's the team that gets like the first team that gets up to $2 million.
Mhm.
So it's like you're robbing other people, you're robbing the crates, and you're just like the first team to get to $2 million. So I think you will have fun with that. So I think you should try it out. I think you should download it, try it out, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But at least try it. Try it once.
Yo, I had somebody random. I was leaving some store, heading to my car, and somebody was like, "Oh, are you?" Yo, it was so random. They were like, "Do you still game?" And I was like, first of all, I have no idea who this person is.
They saw you on
I was
YouTube.
like, well, yeah, I play some games. I was like, I don't stream or anything, but yeah, I game. Anyway, that's how the conversation started. Turns out I do know them. They used to rent from me all the time when I worked for Enterprise. So it was like a regular customer who kind of like knew stuff about me. And I guess I told them that I
Oh,
started a
gotcha,
gaming
gotcha.
channel. And they were asking about it, see if I was still gaming. And it was just, I don't know, it was a really, it started off as a really weird interaction. I was like, what do you mean? Do I still game? Who are you? You know? That was it. That was
You
it.
should start. You should start. You should stream on Twitch. Have like a funny tag like gaming mom or something like that, and just like stream like COD or something. And just play video games.
What is COD? I don't even know how to play COD. I have not interacted with COD at all.
So what do you have? You have PS4, PS5?
I have in house, I have a PS3 and a PS5.
Okay.
And of course, I have my Alienware.
All
I'm a
right.
PC
So
person, you know.
on either one, on your Alienware or PS5,
Uh-huh.
you could go to on your PS5, just type Warzone, or actually it's under MW2, but under MW2, so MW2. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm using the shirt slang. MW2. Then you gotta like search for the version, and it's Warzone. It's their free version, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like Fortnite but more better graphics and all that. And then on your Alienware, you can just type Warzone and find where it is, create an account, and install it that way.
Mm-hmm.
but it's a first person shooter, but it's like it's a battle royale where you got to go in and you drop on an island and you just pick your guns and you shoot. However, like I said, Plunders is coming out, and I think you'll have a lot more fun with Plunders than just the regular battle royale one.
Mhm.
Because it sucks
Oh, we'll
sometimes. Like
see.
the regular battle royale kind of sucks because it's like you go in, right? You're trying to loot your guns and all that, and then all of a sudden you can just walk out, some sniper across the way hit you, and then you got to start all over, and you got to
Right.
wait to get in the lobby and all that stuff. And it's like, come on, man! Like I waited like 20 minutes to do like 2 minutes of nothing.
I like sniping people, so I kind of felt bad. I felt that one.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, come on, man.
Like, haha, they couldn't even see me.
Where yeah, whereas plunders, like you could respawn at, if you get killed, you respawn as many times as you can until the very end. And the whole concept is you're just opening these boxes and you're trying to loot. And so there's like various drop zones, like where you can like drop your money off. So
Mhm.
that way if somebody kills you, you don't lose your money. But there's also teams that will hunt you if you have the highest like amount of money.
Mhm.
So it's like you kind of get like a bounty on you. So they'll come in, they'll shoot you, and of course the natural reaction is like, shit, I'm gonna drop back on them, but I want to get my revenge. So you'll be
Right.
in this like big shootout between these like back and forth between the team, and before you know it, you lost all your money. So it's like, and then I heard they're adding like new stuff, like they're adding where you can get like an angel investor. So
Mhm.
like you can get somebody who tells you like do a certain bounty or a certain contract, and if you do that contract, they'll give you like some more money. You could do like an insurance policy. So if somebody like takes you out, you still keep half of the money that you had on you. Yeah, so there's a in the like the little shopping things that the little shopping carts, you can go and you could buy like a portable balloon.
Mhm.
And so what you do is like you get this little balloon, you drop it somewhere, and then you put all your money in the balloon, and you see the balloon take off. But if somebody shoots that balloon, your money goes down too. So you gotta like keep an eye on it. And that will,
Damn.
yeah, yeah. So it's actually a cool concept.
There was definitely in Destiny, I was doing like one-on-one with my youngest, and it was like this thing where we had like three flags and we had to like capture each of the three flags in
Oh,
order to
Rift.
win.
I think it's
And
Rift.
so and so at
Oh, excuse
first,
me.
like we went into the game, neither of us knew what we were doing. And like I caught on first because I'm older and I'm a gamer. So I caught on. So once he figured out what was going on, like this little boy beat me so bad. And it's so freaking frustrating. Like I don't even see him coming for me and I'm dead. It's just, oh, like he's a little kid.
So right now I'm cheating a bit. I'm cheating a bit because we downloaded the demo. I was gonna tell you that too, to download the demo for Street Fighter 6.
Mhm.
For anybody who wants to, who's a Street Fighter fan like me, you can go. There's a demo, which I'm actually shocked that games are still doing demos. Because what they moved over to was like, hey, you could try the game for like an hour. It's
Mhm.
like a trial, but they actually have the demo. Do you remember back in the day when we used to do the demo CDs on the PlayStation and we just play the shit out of the demos like nonstop? Well, we were doing that. Like we got, and so the Street Fighter demo, it's only two characters, right? It's Ryu and Luke, and those are the only two you could play. And we were playing, and of course, muscle memory came back, and I was just like whooping his. I was like, oh, yeah, 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 like doing all the moves. I was doing the Hayukin, and he was like, "Well, how you know how to play this game?" I was like, "Cause I've been playing for like 30 years. I already know,
Right.
like muscle memory." And so I'm like trying to teach him and stuff, and he's like, "I don't want to play this," but I guarantee that when the second he learns how to do it, he's gonna be whooping my ass across the board. Cause I
Yep.
was like, I sucked when I played with my friends. I was horrible. I would play with my friends. Man, we would go like 100 rounds. I remember one time we were playing Mortal Kombat. We would go 100 rounds, and it was like 100-0. Like I didn't win not one round, and I kept going optimistic, hoping that I was gonna beat his ass just one time, and it would always
Right.
get close, and I like never won. And then I would just come home and whoop my sister's ass on Street Fighter.
Right. Every time. Every time.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was doing the spinning kick. I was doing it because muscle memory just came through. And it's cool because the game actually lets you do the like old school controls. Like they were like, do you which controls you want to do? And I was like, yeah, I'll do the old school. Which the old school, it doesn't let you use the diagonals. You gotta use the directionals on the top.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, fine. This just feels just like it was back when it was like, on the PlayStation, on Super Nintendo and all that, right? So I was like, yeah. I was like, doing all the moves. I was like, how you can? Yeah. I was doing everything to him. And he was just so mad. He's like, I don't want to play this no more. I was like, what? You got to practice. You can't just quit.
That's what I felt when I was trying to
quitter.
do the flags, capturing the flags. I gave up. I was like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, I don't want to play this no more. I looked at him. I was like, do you know how many times I got my ass whooped on my friends and I kept playing in the hopes that I could beat him one day? And he was going to quit after like 2 minutes? Like, I don't want
Did I tell you about the house party I went to? I went to this random house party and the dude had I think it was Street Fighter. It was like the actual like arcade thing though he had in his house. So I'm like, oh man, that's so dope. So he's like, oh, play with me. So I played with him. And of course, like he let me win. And in my mind, I didn't think he won because he let me win. Like I thought I won. I was like, ha, feeling myself. Later in the night, I play against him again and he whooped my ass. And I was like, wow, that's when it dawned on me that he let me win the first time. I was like, oh.
He probably was hustling you. He should have put some money on you. He was probably like, trying to take that money away from you.
Which, I don't understand why in my mind I thought I could go into his house where he had the damn arcade game and beat his ass. Like, why in my mind did that think that was okay?
You could buy that arcade now at like Walmart. You know that, right?
Yeah.
They sell it everywhere. I was like, oh,
right, everybody's got them.
Yeah, but I don't want to buy one of those because I like going to the actual old arcades.
Right.
And like actually playing all those games. And like they got the top downs. I like doing like the old ones where you remember the ones where like 4 people can play? Whatever it may be. It was like either Simpsons or Turtles or something like that where 4 people can jump on it. Those were cool, but like you never really had enough quarters to play it. So in these places now, you just go and you just, keep on playing. You just push the button, you can keep going. So being able to like actually see the continuation of the game is actually kind of cool. I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I didn't have enough quarters back in the day.
Right.
But yeah, no, you gotta check out Warzone. I think you on Warzone and just being like gamer mom or something like that, I think you have like a crazy cult following.
I mean, it sounds right up my alley because the kids are always like complaining because in Fortnite they'll be like fighting somebody, and I'm like, wait, I just found a chest. I'm over here looting, but then I always get the cards. I always get the cards and revive everybody. So
my buddy was complaining about that the other day. So in Warzone they added this new mode called DMZ. And DMZ is supposed to be this whole new wave. So Battle Royale is kind of evolving. And it's evolving to this like thing where it's like a survival looter shooter. So it's like you drop in and you have nothing. And whatever you find, they call them extraction shooters. So whatever you find within the game, you have to now extract from the map. And when you extract, you can take that out with you. But once you go back in, if you die, you lose everything. Okay. So like you'll drop in, right? And you'll get like a good backpack, you'll get like plates, you'll get like a good gun, you'll get like good gear, and then you'll see like an extraction point. You'll leave the game, and all that stuff you found, you have it on you.
Okay.
So now when you go back into the game, you have like an advantage. But if somebody kills you, right? One, they want to kill you because they can take all the stuff that's on you. And 2, once you lose that, like instantly you die, you lost all that stuff. So you're like, I lost all my stuff, right?
Right.
So my buddy was like, the other day he was with my friends, and so it was him and like 3 other friends that were on. So it was like a squad of 4 in DMZ that they linked up. So mind you can only have 3 people in a squad. So they figured out how to get in the same server, how to like team up. And so it took all that while. So he was like waiting. He was like, it took like 15, 20 minutes to get into. So they finally got into the squad. They were all 4 of them on. And sure enough, he's being all tactical. He's like doing, and then he gets down. It's like some either the AI or somebody kills him. And he's like, yo, I need you guys to come get me. And they're like, yeah, I'm on my way. And he's seeing the screen of my other buddy, and he's just still looting the boxes. He's like, I can see you still looting. Are you coming to get me? He's like, oh, yeah, my bad. I want to go. And so he gets taken out. And then the other guy, like it goes back to the other guy's screen. He's doing the same thing, right? He ends up getting taken out. So finally, the whole team wipes. And he's like, listen, this is not plunders. This is not like try to loot everything. We have to be tactical, and we want to, complete the missions and complete the contracts. Like, what are you guys doing? He's like, he was so irate because he's like, it took forever to get in there. But it's funny too because like you could team up. So like you could do. There was one time where we teamed up. Like I believe we teamed up with like one guy. We picked up one guy. So it was like us. It was like a team of 4, and then we ended up picking up another team. So it was like we ended up having like a team of 6.
Mm-hmm.
And so then another team tried to like attack us because if you pick up something on the map, it kind of alerts you, like it alerts everybody around your area,
Mm-hmm.
like you got this like valuable thing. And
Right.
so it was like alerting everybody. So other teams were kind of hunting us. And so they only saw like 2 of us. And they're like, oh, it's only a team of 2. And next thing you know, like 4 people comes out. They're like, oh, it's a team of 6. What's going on? You never know. So it's fun. I think you should play it. I think you should download it, and I think you should try it out.
Warzone.
Yes, Warzone. I think DMZ and Plunders, I think you would like those too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you should stream it as you're playing it too. Because COD's the biggest game streamed right now, COD and Fortnite. So you might as well take advantage. Put yourself in front of the camera if you're gonna play. If you're gonna waste all these hours playing.
Right. That's another thing. Like Epic, when you go to like the the login screen or whatever, it shows you how many hours you've put into each of these games. I'm like, holy crap. What?
Yes. And there's women on Twitch who are making a shit ton of money by just sleeping in front of their camera. They're literally sleeping in front of their camera, and people are watching it and donating. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, why are you super chatting somebody who's sleeping? They're not gonna read your chats. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. I'm getting old. I don't understand this concept. So I think you should. I definitely think you should. You should do that. Yeah, Fortnite and because Destiny. Look, I love Destiny, but it's a dying game. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have like the popularity and the draw like Call of Duty and Fortnite does. And even
Right.
Fortnite, I think to a certain extent is dying as well. I think the biggest game right now is it is COD, right? It is Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
There was another game that came out. Ubisoft put out a game. It's called X Defiant, which is supposed to be like Call of Duty, but it's more of like the multiplayer side of Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a paid version of MW2, which is the multiplayer, which has like the small maps and you just run around and you're shooting people like that. It'll be like 3v3, 6v6, 10v10 or something like that, right? But that's the paid version. You could easily just get into the game doing the free version. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the packs you could buy and all that if you don't want to look like a default character. There's also new packs now, which Activision and Call of Duty just got themselves in a little bit of a pickle because they have packs now, which is kind of like play to win or pay to win,
Mm-hmm.
like pay to win in DMZ. Whereas if you buy the packs, it gives you like an advantage within DMZ. So people are like, that's bullshit. But it's like, that's how life is, though. So, on that note, Lane, go download the game and let's play.
All right, guys. Thank you again for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
End of stream.